My streaming software says it's online. I'll wait for the latency to push through and for it to show up on YouTube. Might go use the restroom and stuff too while we're waiting. Cause I do want to see some people tune in for this, because I don't want to just put this up there with nobody watching. Oh, there we go. I'm seeing it on YouTube. If there's any commenters, the chat is live. Go ahead and drop a message or something so that I can see that you're here. It says one watching, but that could just be me. Oh, there we go. I'm seeing it on YouTube. I'm hearing myself now too. Cool. Alrighty, I'm going to leave a comment so people know what's up, because I'm going to step away for a minute, but I'll be back. I see a second person tuned in. Welcome, welcome. I'm about to step away now. I gotta use the restroom. Let me know that you're here. Let me know that you're tuned in. And in a minute, we'll reverse engineer this trigger, because this is kind of cool. Somebody recommended this, and I definitely want to touch on trying to reverse engineering this, because there's very limited anything on it. It's a very new trigger. It's only like half a year old, coming up on a year-ish. Like, I see the older videos are like 8, 9 months old. Anyways, I'll be right back. Wanted to grab some water too. Let me close my door. Okay. I see a second viewer. Oh no, I saw them just dip out. But yeah, I'm here, and yeah, I guess not many people are gonna tune in, but I think it's worth just let's go ahead and start. So far, what I've gathered is you have a toggle that's bolt operated. So the bolt carrier would bring it forward. That's the in battery position. That should allow this to move some. And this is your operator for the trigger. So when it's in the down position, it's going to be pressing the trigger. But I'm not liking the geometry there because I want it to... So that's why we're here, right? We don't actually know how the parts look. I don't know if I can share this in stream, but I've looked at different geometries on Google Images. I've tried to look at the creators' videos to try to gather some geometries, and what I can gather is it looks like there's 3 components there, and I think I have an idea how they work. I just don't know the exact shapes that they have. So that's the issue that we're dealing with right now. But so far, from what I've gathered, what I know about mechanical engineering, it's starting to appear like this for me. So there's a recess there. This should be camming this down. So what I'm going to do here is extend this out. And what we'll go ahead and do is extend that down this way some more. So we'll take this, add these, and then bring this back. Make sure these do not, yeah, that was the issue. Hello. Oh yeah, that'll do it too. So I have a thing where I don't really talk and work well at the same time. No, I'm serious. If you're here, go ahead and leave a message in the chat so that I know you're here. So I see somebody's here, and I'm not tuned in other than on my PC, so that is somebody else. So make sure you say hi. Cause I'd like to know who you are. Say hi to you. But if not, it's fine. I just like to know who's tuned in, who's watching me. But get a drink of water. And keep on keeping on. So this process can be incredibly boring. I'm not gonna kid you. But hopefully one of these days soon we'll I do see this kind of extends out. It's a geometry and shapes game right now. I think I have an idea of how it's working. So this would be your toggle, this is your operator, and there's another component back here that I guess would be a catch to keep this down while this is moving. That's my guess, and that would make the most sense. But actually fleshing those geometries out is what we're after right now. So what we definitely want is for this to keep this cam down. So what we'll do, yeah, I know what we'll do. Granted, this is probably not a one-to-one, but this guy should be vertical. Okay, so I'll do this. It'll help us align because we want this to move. How many degrees is it? I think it's like 7 degrees-ish. Maybe 10. It's in the ballpark of that, right? Ooh, 7. I was good. That's eyeballing, by the way. I haven't tested that before, so apparently my angles are very good. Not to trump myself up too much, but yeah, I was proud of that just now. Anyways, so we want this 7 degrees. So we'll do some rough math. Just kind of get this. Well, here, and we'll do a 7-degree throw so that we can kind of eyeball how far this actually needs to move. Yeah, it's a decent little bit. Do you know, I might actually extend this up some. Start with that. Get this guy right here. It's just a stop for us. And this stuff isn't going to stay, obviously. We'll get rid of this as we move on. I'm just trying to get these geometries right. And using physical references will help us. Well, let's make these heavy because they have to be. You know what? That actually works. It's gonna block it. Yep, that's perfect. All right, maybe not perfect, but that'll do, right? Maybe just push this up some more. So actually, we don't need all those fancy geometries. It could just be this right here. You know, sometimes simple is better. So this isn't going to be a one-to-one because I don't have a reference for the parts, unfortunately. What's happening? Something's not right. What? See, this is the stuff Algodoos does sometimes that pisses me off. And it's like, I have no clue why this is happening. And it just deletes. What the fuck? Yeah, this isn't right. Something about this just isn't adding up right. But whatever. I mean, same shit. What the fuck? Wow. Oh, hey, now people are called Spasm Studios. This program's called Algodo. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and link that here in the comments. That's literally the website. Oh, yeah, he already told you. Nice, cool. Yeah, this is nowhere near Fusion 360. This is strictly 2D. How you guys doing, by the way? All right, this is super frustrating. Why is this like this? What gives? Something's wrong. That needs to go. Wow. What the fuck? So Algodo can do this kind of stuff sometimes. It's really frustrating, and it's just... Holy cow, bro. What gives? Bro, come on. Yeah, so this is the sort of stuff that makes me walk away from Algodo sometimes, because it gets really frustrating when it glitches out. There's no fixing it. There's just like work around it somehow. Try to resolve it without punching a wall. So like sometimes I'm inactive on Algodo because it can be really frustrating to deal with. But when it works out, it's worth it. But yeah, this is where we're at. We were going strong, and now we have to do all this just because the program wants to be silly. Yeah, I figured it would just revert to an earlier point instead of dealing with all that. Because that's nonsense, man. That's bullshit. I don't know why it would do that. So yeah, we do. If it does it again, I might just turn off the stream, man. Because that was frustrating for a moment, I'm not gonna lie. So when it's like this, it should be locked, which is good. But then it should be able to come up a full 7 degrees when it's all the way forward. Let me just bring this just for a second. I might have a deeper recess up here. Could be part of it. This guy will add a stop just for now. This is not part of the mechanism, but to stop to give us a play we need. Oh, it's actually bistable. Cool. Does it exacerbate it? pull. So now it's more like a switch, right? Because it'll snap to one or the other side. Should be able to come up more. Actually, Algodo isn't abandoned. They did a software update not too long ago, so I think the dev team is like, you know what, this thing, it's still got potential. It's still a 2D physics sandbox unlike any other. You can do a lot with it that you can't do with anything else. So while they're not pursuing it like they used to, I think there's still some potential they could pick it up and do something with it, which I'm all for. Honestly, I'd be really interested in seeing some wave mechanics and some more quantum-like behaviors incorporated, but I know that's difficult as hell to model and try to incorporate, and really you'd be better off grounds up developing a new program for that. But I think like developing, yeah, the update they pushed recently was really did a performance update, so things that were slow before picked up in speed a little bit. So that was really cool to see. So I'm just gonna cut that like that for now. So this alone wouldn't work, right? Actually, hold on. Let me think about this. It might. Put those in a battery. So yeah, that in a sense works. So it's something like this for sure. But how much? You know, I'm actually gonna angle this because that would be a point of where. Yeah, it would have to be shallower. And unfortunately, that doesn't leave us much material to remove there. So you know what I think's going on? I think the surface that's angled is going to be right here instead. Give this a little bit of a slope. Yep, there we go. That's what we want. So, well, I'm going to assume one, that this kind of continues just a little bit. So you do want a positive locking action. You don't want it to be too flimsy. And two, I'm going to give this a little bit more recess. And so folks, the geometries here, this is speculative. This is not indicative of what's going on. Like the title suggests, it's reverse engineering. There's videos on this guy's trigger you could go look at. Yeah, that's right, we have to get rid of that still. Wait, no, we have to use it. I get a little sidetracked sometimes, don't I? It's a little bit of the ADHD. While we're at it, we could just straighten this out. So a lot of my stuff in Algodo is doing exactly what I'm doing right here. It's a lot of playing with geometries, playing with shapes, adding, removing, changing it up, changing it up. over and over again until I get something that works really good. So boom, this looks good. A little bit of play just for differences in triggers and tolerances. So far, that's looking good. What collision group is that? Okay, D. I could use D. And this guy is C. Cool. CD. And for this guy, we could stuff one in right here. It does the same thing. Because in the real thing, yeah, actually I should stop being lazy and do the right geometry. Which is just going to be, you know, a wall of material on the outside of the shell. Kind of ends up aligning with this. Just what we want. And then here, what you're going to probably end up having is a little bit of a cut on the inside of the well to just make some room for this to articulate. Whoop, we don't want that to drop. There you kind of have it. Gville, so these things aren't schizo rants. I suggest you do a little bit of research and look at alternative perspectives. If you haven't, download Ground News, see how stuff gets covered, and learn a bit about intelligence and information theory. Because a lot of what I talked about on some of those videos is it has to do with how information gets manipulated and propagated. There's definitely a lot of propaganda going around trying to keep people supporting the deep state, supporting people who really have nobody's best interest in mind but their own, and are willing to lie to you and me and take both of our money to keep fucking us up the ass. That's all I'm saying. I'm not suggesting I have any particular hardcore political affiliation. Far from it. But when I see people do good works, and when I see, hey, this could actually end up working well, and so far the right people are angry about it, yes, I'm going to support that. And you can disagree with it. You could say, hey, look, a gesture that everybody latched onto because it's all they've got makes him a neo-Nazi, which is ridiculous. You have videos of other politicians doing the exact same "my heart goes out to you" gesture. The reason they latch onto it so hard, I'm convinced, and the same reason AOC, the same reason Kamala Harris, why they cackle, it isn't because they're laughing. They're stressed and they're afraid because they're losing power and support. Just going to pause at that. Anyways, we're going to go back to the subject at hand. I just want us to have a future where we're not getting fucked in the ass, right? That's all I want. But we have differences in opinion on how to accomplish that. But at the end of the day, no matter what you say, holding the government accountable can't be a bad thing. Firing people who loaf their jobs can't be a bad thing. They do it to us when we do it. Connect the dots. So there's going to be a locking mechanism here. I can see on pictures and stuff that I've seen as well. There's definitely another component in here. It's probably going to pivot just enough to either permit or restrict travel on the trigger. So well, that makes me think that when it comes like this, there's going to be another geometry here that knocks it out of alignment with this. Because if I've watched the creator's video where he's kind of demonstrating this, and he demonstrates it only for a little bit and then goes into how to fit it into the firearm of your choosing. It definitely looks like this is locked even when this is about 3/4 of the way of the travel. He pushes it all the way forward and then click, right? It's not this smooth transition like you see here. All right, so I'm gonna ask you to keep it civil and stop calling people names, stop generalizing, stop calling people brainwashed. Like, come on, dude. And this is part of the reason why y'all lost. Because you guys keep sticking to these browbeats, to these parroted narratives, to these. You want to call MAGA cultists, but y'all literally like play by the exact same fucking words. You don't have original language, let alone original ideas. And you call us cultists. I think that's insanely funny, and it's why you lost. I'm sorry. It's just why you lost, because people are tired of it. They're tired of being called Nazi just for disagreeing. They're tired of being called racist, sexist, misogynist. And this isn't to discredit actual hate, right? There's people that are actually genuinely hateful, but when you generalize like that, you lose your support. So these guys, yeah, they might not be the best people. I call Trump a crooked man made straight. I'm not glorifying or deifying him, far from it, but he might be our best bet to kill these institutions that are fucking us up the ass. That's it. That's literally it. That's the only political incentive I have to support that guy. It's like, get the people who we know are fucking us, we just can't prove it because we don't have the power. That's it. To stand and defend them and call us cultists, though, bro. Come on. I'm going to go ahead and start this geometry here. So it snugs up against this in the pictures and videos I've seen. So it's like right here. And it might be what's actually stopping this from backing up all the way. As well, I actually think this thing doesn't use any springs, which would be very clever. Because then you don't have to worry about things getting bent. You just have solid, hardened steel components that push each other around. I'm guessing one of these is going to be a hinge pin and the other is going to be a stop. Unless it's two components in here, which could be. Guys, this is very speculative. I've seen nothing on the internal components of this thing. This is all just from the ground up. But yeah, I'm not a Trumpy. I'm just tired of the bullshit and tired of the same fucking narratives we hear every 4 years from the same side over and over again. And it's all shame, shame, shame to everybody who doesn't support us. It's actual cultism. It's actual cultism to do that kind of shit, and that's why y'all keep losing. That's why the walk away movement keeps getting bigger and bigger. And don't get me wrong, I'm not disparaging people who are on the left. There's a lot of very reasonable people on the left, and they're not exactly supportive of the people who pretend to represent them right now. They're kind of lost. They're kind of like, well, holy shit, these people really are fucking us up the ass. Now, there's plenty who are blindsided, if you don't care, who just vote blue no matter who. That's real cultism, dude. Come on. Connect some dots. Think about this. I don't care if you unsub, dude. I'm going to talk about what put me in jail for being suicidal because I was working 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. Go ahead and unsub. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Don't care. Yeah, when you work 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, and it still doesn't work out for you, it changes you. Yeah, Weevil. You see, Jeevil, you seem like you might be a child. You might be in your teens. My suggestion to you is learn some more. Learn some more, because you really don't know shit. Frankly, I don't know shit, but I know more than you. My curiosity here is, if we hinge it here, versus if we hinge it here. I'm going to say it's going to be hinged around that one. And let me be clear, I supported Obama when I was in high school. And it was his second term where I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I'm fucking done with these people. It's when it started for me. I used to be left-leaning, and I still lean left on a lot of policies. Don't get me wrong, I don't kowtow to anybody. There are certain times where you just know it when you hear it. Where you know what? When you know propaganda, yeah, there's actual ways of identifying propaganda. There's actual set strategies to identifying propaganda, dude. It isn't some mystical thing. It's just people tend to be emotionally vulnerable to it. You're not immune from propaganda either. I'm not immune from propaganda, but I consider a lot before I make a decision on something. When I'm outspoken on something, and when I have a solid opinion on it, it's because I gave a lot of thought to it. And the moment I see something that hits me emotionally, the first thing I do is say, who's pushing this and what agenda might they have? Which is what we should all be doing. But my advice to everybody is turn off the mainstream news, whether it's Fox or CNN or any of the others. Just tune out. They're not your friend. They want you guys fighting amongst yourselves. They want you supporting this politician or that because it makes them money. They have no incentive to help you. Take it from me, somebody who worked 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, ended up suicidal and the state put him in jail for it. So if this comes up to release, if it's on the downside, that could be how it locks. It's not making sense to me for some reason. What if we have something else hinged around this? What happens then? What if it's 4 components in total? 4 moving parts, I should say. That's exact. Everything is thank you. Everything is business, and they're willing to lie through their teeth to you for a profit, to make a buck, and to fuck you in the ass. They're willing to lie to you. Your only friends are people who are diehard Americans. That's it. Nobody else is coming to save you, folks. That's it. Nobody else is coming to save you. And if you don't believe in demons, it's political ideologies that possess people, ideas that possess people. Gods are real. They just don't have bodies like you see, like you expect. Demons are real. They just don't have bodies. They possess people. That's a whole different topic. If you guys want me to get into it, I can get into it with you. What's ironic? If you go ahead and clarify what's ironic about it. Are you going to say Elon Musk's the richest man in the world? So, rich people aren't a problem. Rich people abusing the working class are. People are saying I'm not exactly anti-capitalist either. That's the thing, dude. I believe if you work for something, I think the capitalism needs to be reined in so it can't be abused. But I think if you worked on something, if you have intellectual or financial property, if you have assets that you worked for, that you earned yourself, they're yours. That's my stance. And it's not even, I wasn't even working at like McDonald's or something. I was on the road doing dangerous work. I was driving rideshare for 12 hours a day. I had days where I put over 1,000 miles on my car. The kind of vigilance you have to do that in a place like Orlando, dude. That's a stressful job. Go to Disney World for a weekend and tell me driving there, just riding as a passenger isn't stressful. And I did that shit 12 hours a day, bro. I'm really getting sidetracked with this political stuff. But it's weighing on people's minds. This is evidence that it's weighing on people's minds and hearts. People are desperate to get out of whatever this political demonic funk we're in and get to what's better. Like, can we all agree on that? We all want better for ourselves and each other, right? So, yeah, it was pretty stressful, but it made me stronger. So I'm not gonna say I regret it one bit. And I got to audit the jail, and I can share details about the insides of jails, who owns them, how much money they make per person, per head, per night. It's a business. Again, jail is just another business. It has private owners, and those owners make money, and they have every incentive to stuff the jail past legal capacity for as much profit as possible. There's placards on the inside of dorms and cells that tell you how much is the legal limit by the fire chief, and they constantly pushed it past by 4, 5, 6 inmates. For bullshit charges too, minor drug possession, failure to pay like a court fee, simple shit that is like super forgivable. Alright, so the deal with calling Trump a felon, this is something I can weigh in on. That was a kangaroo court. That wasn't legitimate. And to be frank, I think it's funny. I think it's funny they went that route. Do you remember why they started bringing all that up? Jivo, do you remember why they brought him into court in the first place? Jivo, understand this. I'm not on any fucking sides. I'm on the American people's side. The more you kowtow to political ideologies, the more like this you're going to act. The more, which side are you on? Are you with us or against us? Fuck off. I'm with the American people. And if something's bad, whether it aligns more with me politically or not, I'm going to call it out, and we need to do more of that. The prison industrial complex, we need people to go to jail who deserve it, but we do not need to stuff them full of people who don't. I'm surprised that's controversial. Which side are you on? Are you serious, dude? It's not about sides. It's about the American people, the working class who make everything around you happen. They're being dictated and abused by the people who say what's going to happen, not the people who actually do it. It's fucking frustrating to watch over and over again. So this rotates like this. I think we might have a winner. No, fuck, because it goes up like this. I might be lost, folks. I might actually be lost on how this thing works. And I would love for, what is his username? I'm going to go look at this dude's channel and actually link it. Out of battery safety, there you go. Which the original out of battery safety, by the way, was the automatic series. So, Jivo, take the fact that you're confused about my political stance as evidence that possibly you don't exactly know what there is. It isn't mental gymnastics, dude. Yes, he absolutely is fighting for the working class because we've seen the fruits of it. Jivo, what is your job? What do you do for a living? I'm curious. You see, I have friends that own businesses, and his policies help them tremendously stay in business, not fucking pay a bunch of taxes that are bullshit, be able to actually hire who's qualified for the job and not be required to muddy the waters with a good percentage of, oh, we just need diversity. No, fuck that. We need people. Yeah, the fruits of it are that the people who have small businesses that aren't backed by the government can keep them and can stay in business and secure a profit for themselves. The brick and mortar shops that pop up and disappear left and right because it's too cutthroat out there for them to actually make it. But the Fortune 500s, the ones that have government subsidies, they stay aloft even when they have all sorts of evils pointed at them. Even when they have all sorts of dirt on them. Even when they have unethical business practices. Go look at Starbucks right now. Go look. And what's funny is their own workers are protesting them peacefully, might I add. And the corrupt cops in New York are arresting them for it because they're doing a sit-in. That's what we're fighting right now. The business owners that I know absolutely are working class. They work for every dollar that they earn. You might be confused with the CEOs of large corporations. I absolutely agree they are not the working class. But the people I know who own businesses, they work their businesses. They only hire like 1 or 2 employees as they need to because they really can't afford much more and they really don't need that much help. But yeah, the business owners that I know absolutely work for a living. So what about this, folks? I'm gonna go ahead and share a video. If somebody else is more mechanically inclined than I, or might see something I don't, let me know. Let me know if you see something. So I'm gonna link that video here. Google user. One of the people I know who owns a business. I worked for him. He paid me decent. He's a good dude too. So good business owners, good billionaires, good businessmen, they exist. You have to find them. You have to network a little bit. You can't just blanket statement everything. And I think we need to move away from that blanket statementing as a society. That's why I don't have a hard political affiliation. I consider myself libertarian, but I have right-leaning views, I have left-leaning views. I'm all over the political spectrum. Just because I support Trump, one, because he's our current president, and two, because I think he's actually pulling some strings that do some good, doesn't mean I'm a diehard Republican or a diehard MAGAT, as some people are saying. And I do see his faults, and there are times where I see him say or do something that I'm just like, dude, you're fucking dumb. Knock that shit off. As well, when Elon called Sikorsky a small man, that pissed me off. I don't know if you guys saw that. So I'm not defending these dudes outright. Don't get me wrong. When I see evil, when I see bad shit, I'm gonna call it out. I'm gonna say, no, dude, I don't support that shit. But I think this absolutist view on everything is what's killing the country. I think this us versus them, that's what's killing us, folks. At the end of the day, we're all in this together. These people, these rich people who genuinely don't have our interests in mind, these career politicians who've been in and on 200,000 a year are worth 20 million after 10 years. Yeah, make it make sense. Those are the people we need out. Not the people who have fuck you money and are working for free. Yeah, Google user, it's absolutely true. When you do have your own business, you're going to make more profits. But the responsibilities that you have are also more tremendous. The government is way more involved in your life and your business. The IRS has the gun pointed in your direction far more often and expects more of you. Like, there's a saying, more money, more problems. And I think that's part of the reason why a lot of these dudes end up the way they do. Because it is, it will jade you. You do have to be willing to continually humanize everybody you work with. And the problem is people don't do that. There's a saying, this is a biblical saying, it's easier for a camel to walk through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. You can interpret that how you see fit. But I think that's talking about what we're discussing right here, right? You can be rich, but you can still be miserable as fuck. Right? I think that's how a lot of these politicians are. I mean, just look at Chuck Schumer, for fuck's sake. Doesn't he look like death? Or what about some of the bankers? Look at Soros. Look at the Rothschild family. Tell me they don't have miserable lives despite their money. That's their own doing, though. So I'm not going to say that isn't justice. So there's more space back here we could use. So I'm going to go ahead and push this geometry back some. For now, I'm going to stick with this being one component and this guy being a stop for it. So obviously when it comes back, this guy, I think, knocks this down. And when it comes forward, I think it's going to knock it back up. And the result of that, there's going to be some locking bar somewhere in here. Yep, just one. Yes, you heard me correctly. I was suicidal because, brother, I was working 12 hours a day and couldn't pay my fucking insurance bill for the car that earned me money while the car was breaking down constantly. Well, Jeevel, the thing is, like, when you call somebody schizo, do you think that earns you some respect? Do you think that's, like, that right there is the sort of behavior that warrants the sort of treatment you're getting right now? I'm putting you on full blast, not because I dislike you or anything, but I think you're, yeah, Uber is greedy, but Lyft even more so, and I worked for Lyft. So, yeah, Lyft might be cheaper, but they fuck their drivers way harder. Yeah, I don't drive with rideshare anymore. Fuck them. They could eat a bag of rocks for all I care. Yeah, but the problem is, one, because I'm on the autism spectrum and have a bit of a medical history involving that, as well as now this arrest record. I wasn't convicted, mind you. I think the state had the sense to go, maybe we shouldn't push this all the way because he might come back. He seems a bit smart. They withheld adjudication, which was very smart of them. So that means I still have an arrest record, but not a felony conviction. Because they took the fact that I had a gun and turned it into a domestic homicide thing because my father called. And then when my dad pleaded with them for them to release me, they knocked him off as the plaintiff and turned it into, like, they had the state take up that shit. Evil, the thing is, it isn't funny. People die. This shit kills people. It's not a laughing matter. These policies, like politics, as much as we say it doesn't matter, we should all love each other, at the end of the day, the policies absolutely do matter. And we should be talking about them objectively. Talking about the actual consequences without being, demonically possessed about our side or their side. So we have this locking bar. I think I'm also gonna scrub this from the YouTube channel when we're done. Don't necessarily want my YouTube to be a big political discussion. That's not what I'm here for. Trigger mechanisms, what I'm about. Might actually be here. Guys, I think this might work. I think I have an idea of how this actually works now. Here we go. That's looking pretty good. So you have two locking features. That's pretty cool. So then looking at this, it's probably going to be a bit thicker. And we'll actually go in and model the stop as well. Not the people you're thinking of. I don't know who you think I'm thinking of, but I appreciate your psychic ability there, sir. Like I said, you seem kind of young. I would recommend to you to do some more research, grow up a bit, especially download Ground News and see what all the blind spots are. But I'll try to drop the politics. You know, like I had life or death about it. I had the future of my ability to live as a free human being about it. So it does affect me. I do have some pretty strong opinions about it. I'm thinking something like this, right? It's not perfect, but just good enough. I did delete that circle, so I'll have to make it again. Controversy is great, though. I think that's what honestly pushes human discussion forward. If everybody agrees with everybody. No, calling you young isn't a browbeat. It's an acknowledgement of the fact that you might be a little bit more ignorant than your age permits. It's not a call out. It's just suggesting, look, you still have so much to learn. You have years and years ahead of you. Like Yigit's suggesting it's criticism. It is an insult. There's a difference. So what this mechanism is, this is a drop-in forced reset trigger. If you look up in the chat a little bit, I don't know if you can see it. I'll go ahead and drop it again. Go look at that video, and then look at the rest of this dude's channel. It's this dude developed a drop-in forced reset trigger for AR-15s, which is pretty cool. That's very reminiscent of drop-in auto series, and his name is kind of cool. Like the name of the channel is out of battery safety, which the first out of battery safety as labeled was an automatic sear. So it's kind of cool to see that coming up. I could be way wrong with this right here though, but whatever. And the thing is, what we don't know is what these shapes actually look like. I've looked across the internet, try to see if somebody's taken theirs apart. Something. If somebody wants to gift me one of these so I can take a look at it and actually put it on camera, which would be really cool for a video. You would get special permissions on the channel, I'll put it that way. You would get featured. But yeah, this gun mechanism is a force reset trigger, which if you haven't seen my other video, basically forces the trigger forward while the bolt's moving. And while the bolt's moving, so you can't press the trigger while it's out of battery. And so what that effect has is it's a rapid fire trigger, and it forces your finger to only press the trigger when the bolt's in battery. In layman terms, it's like pseudo full auto. It shoots as fast as the cyclic rate of the gun, but without the legal definition of a machine gun. That's it. Really, at the end of the day, it is like, we're not gonna kid you on it. It is kind of skirting the law, the NFA, without being in legal hot water. They were for a minute. ATF was going around seizing them, but courts ruled in. They said, well, you kind of made your bed with the per function of the trigger deal, so they have to sleep with it. Nope, accidentally opened KSP. Not to worry, just close that. Another thing we can do to round it off. No, actually, we don't need to. I don't think. We just knocked the edge off there. It shouldn't lock too much. I'm an idiot. It's supposed to come up on the other side. That's cool. So I just mistaked. Yeah, so the force reset bit. So imagine this is the trigger right now. This piece. So as the bolt comes back, it collapses this, forces your trigger forward, right? Then as the bolt comes forward, it presses this forward, allows the trigger to move. What we're trying to give here is a, which I could be totally wrong, and this is it. And this is just a piece that holds everything kind of in place, prevents excessive motion. Who knows, but yeah, it was KSP1, by the way. I do have KSP2. I don't necessarily regret the purchase because of the historicity of it. So to answer your question, so do you have to keep pulling the trigger over and over, or do you just hold it down? Little bit of both. You keep applying constant pressure to the trigger, but your finger, as a result of the mechanism, wiggles back and forth. Does that make sense? Actually, I can go ahead and show that really quick. If I have it. I might not have it anymore, unfortunately, because my heart, yeah, I don't think I have it. Damn, that sucks. So last year my hard drive shit the bed and it's still at a computer shop. I'm still waiting on coming up with the funds to get a level 3 recovery done from Harris, but so far, yeah. It is a sneaky full auto basically. The ATF is mad and they can stay mad. We don't care. We, the American people, do not give a fuck what they think anymore because they've made examples of people over and over. Which, by the way, you can quote me on this. They did Matthew Hoover fucking dirty. They lied. They used a trick, and I want this to go to court too. Actually, let me spell this out so that there's a picture of it, right? I'm going to make this the picture of either this stream or some video. I might talk about this in a video. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. And by the way, you can do that with this information as you see fit. I don't give a fuck anymore what the ATF thinks, how they view it. If I'm on a watch list, all the more power to them. I do not fucking care anymore because they're done incriminating people who are otherwise innocent for the mere possession of a tool. We're done with it. So yeah, certain primers. I'm terrible at typing. I should take a typist class. So yeah, here's information for you. All of you who own AR-15s, if you have a certain kind of ammo, are in constructive possession of a machine gun, according to the way the ATF incriminates people. They will use these soft primer ammos to encourage even firearms that are otherwise incapable of full auto to rattle off 2 or 3 rounds, which is enough for them to put you in prison for 10 years. It's bullshit. It needs to stop, and we're going to push back on them. I'm so fucking tired of it, bro. I'm so goddamn motherfucking tired of it. Because they get away with it over and over and over again. And every time they do, it's cash in their pockets that belongs to you. It's your taxpayer money going to them. So not only are they ruining someone's life and preventing them from ever having a firearm again, they're fucking you in the ass too. We're not having it. I don't care what your stance is on guns. That's foul play. That's mistrial. Or sorry, maybe not mistrial, but what is it? Perjury. That's it. So there you have it. You use soft primary ammos to incriminate people. Because the thing is, the auto key card as it was presented, one, the metal's too thin for it to work. Two, the drawing is too small or too large to fit in the receiver. You can't actually, like, the whole premise of the case was bullshit. The whole premise of it. And they used soft primary ammos to put him in jail, to ruin his life, to leave his wife and kids without a husband and father. And I want them put in prison themselves for it. Because I'm so sick and fucking tired of these asshats getting away with it. So sick and fucking tired of it, bro. So yeah, please, if you can, share this bit with, clip it, share it with people who need to know. I don't know the exact name of the ammos, but I know they exist. I've seen people talk about it before. I think something about wolf in the name. It's a really soft primary ammo, and they do this shit all the time. To a bunch of people you don't hear about. Oh yeah, he was in possession of a machine. No, he just had something that blocked the disconnector. So I'll show you real quick with this demo. So you've got your disconnector. If you watched my original video, which everyone who's subscribed, he's probably tuning in, watched my original video on the 3-round burst. Disconnector does that, right? So what happens with the auto key card or with some of these mods people are going to prison for, they don't operate like an automatic sear. All they're doing is permitting the hammer to follow, which usually results in that, but with the soft primer ammo, it's enough for it to rattle off that second and third and fourth and fifth round. That's it. Usually this right here is what happens. It fires once, shoves a loaded round into the chamber, but does not shoot. Then you've got a dead trigger and you have to cycle, eject that round, put another one in. That's usually what happens, but then the ATF will go, yeah, we want this bastard, we want the money. And they'll put that soft primer ammo in, and yeah, there you go. So people, please. I'm going to leave this video up now. I don't care about the politics. I'm all for it. Share this. Get these bastards in prison themselves, because the law shall not be above the law. I'm sorry. And especially when these asshouts continue to work in ways that circumvent Congress, circumvent the Constitution, and circumvent due process. We're not fucking having it anymore. I am that irate, that militant about it. Matthew Hoover deserves to be a free man with a massive payout that makes him and his family rich for the rest of their lives. Because it's bullshit. What they did to him is bullshit. And I've tried calling some law firms about it. They won't represent it. But I'm going to keep pushing. This right here. I'm so fucking tired of it, dude. Get them. Get these assholes. Put them in prison themselves because they deserve it. That's perjury. What they did to the courts to get these people into prison is perjury. End of discussion. That's it. There you have it. That's the crime to accuse them of, perjury, because they fucking lied to the courts, and we're not going to deal with it anymore. Anyways, we're going to go back to the subject at hand. So why 2 pins if it's just held in place and you could just use the wall in a single pin? I'm convinced it's a lock, but it's not going to be on that side. It's going to be on this side. Okay, so it might actually be hinged from the other direction. Giving it some thought, right? It might actually be from the other side. Sorry if that was a little bit intense for y'all, but that's... No, the law can't keep being abusive. That's my politics, is we clean house. We don't let our law be abusive just because it suits us in particular. No, we hold ourselves blameless, and we hold our government to an even more blameless standard. That's how it works. We don't get away with what we can get away with. That shit doesn't fly. We forgive those who make mistakes. We forgive those who in desperation make errors, but we do not forgive those who willingly incriminate and destroy life. What do y'all think? Y'all have opinions on that? 'Cause I noticed the chat went kind of dead. Like at the end of this, it doesn't matter. We're gonna have full auto. We're gonna have the weapons we need just in case shit goes that sideways. And instead of laws on what you can't and can't have, we're gonna have laws on how and when you can use certain tools. And then we'll incriminate those who abuse them. That's how it's gonna work. But the right of the people to keep and bear arms of all kinds, all bearable arms, and all crew-served weapons that can be owned by the individual, which has been the historical case forever, shall not be infringed. Back when the Americas were founded, private owners of boats could equip their boats with cannons. There wasn't a tax stamp for it. There weren't government regulations prohibiting it. There were just rules on when and how you could use it. That's it. And that's the way it's going to be for the weapons going forward. Technology changes, the law should not. The law has to continually change to keep up with the technology. The foundation of it is set wrong. And the people who abuse that knowledge and knowingly incriminate people, bro, devils. Devils deserving of horrible deaths. I said it. Go ahead and incriminate me for it, I dare you. Just come back to haunt you and bite you even harder. Yes, these people make money destroying lives. What the fuck do you think they deserve? I didn't say I was going to do it. I said they deserve it. There's a big difference. So yeah, this pops up. I do think it is hinged on the other side. It makes sense. Here. We'll go without. So now what we get. See, but the thing is, in the video, I don't see this piece move at all, so it doesn't make sense. Guys, it may very well be that the regulator is just this. That might be it. Might be all that's necessary. I'm going to go ahead and, as is, just kind of drop this into the M4 AR-15 we have up there. Let's do both. Yep, Google user, you're right. And that's the thing. The government shouldn't have to rely on itself all the time for its security. Once in a while, it might need the help of the citizens. There's videos on YouTube where citizens step in to help officers. So it isn't us versus the government. We're supposed to be cooperative. But, like we do with everyone, we cannot allow anybody to get away with anything evil. It's just that simple. We can't let people do evil shit and get away with it. So you guys kind of seeing how this works now? Might have to be a bit denser. Are we human or are we dancer? There you go. It kind of works. And this might be a little too strong. Let's increase the mass of the hammer so it hits with more energy. So this is not the end all of this, guys. Let me increase the hammer spring strength. No, let me not do all that. Let me just... So from what I've gathered from his videos, you do kind of have to... Yeah, what the fuck? Let's see here. I think I'm going to make this even heavier. Ah, that's what happened. Cool. Good to know. I was like, that was kind of fast. There we go. There's your drop-in forced reset trigger, folks. Now, if it's tuned properly, this is what I was talking about just a second ago. From what I've gathered from the videos, you do have to tune it to the particular firearm you're putting it into. So you might have to shave down some of your trigger mechanisms. You might have to shave down parts of the Arizona regulator itself. But by and large, this right here works. This might be wrong though, but it's speculation. If anybody has any more information on this, please you can send me a message on the channel or leave a comment. I'll get in touch with you externally. We could share some information. I have a Discord. If you drop your Discord stuff in there, I'll send you a message and you can delete your Discord info. Yeah, there's ways of getting a hold of me. If you have information, please send it my way because this stuff kills me, man. I want to learn. I want to know what this stuff does. I want to see how it actually works. And like I said, if somebody's generous enough to set me a physical example of this, that would be so cool. I would love to actually pick one apart on video and show you how it works. But yeah, there you have it. That was a spicy stream with a good number of interesting details shared, both on and off subject. I hope you all enjoyed, or at least gathered something from it. I don't know. Controversial times we live in, folks, but my heart goes out to you, and I hope you all do well, do better than you have in the last 4 years. Hope things get better for you going forward, that the people who are prosperous and deserve to be prosperous continue to do so, that no matter what kind of fear gets peddled, that you come out on top, that all the negative shit that gets pushed forward before the judges and the Congress gets shot down, that all good bills and all good accountabilities get upheld. You know, all the good things, none of the bad things. And I think that's a fair stance to have, right? No matter what, never support anybody outright. Always hold them accountable as you hold yourself accountable. And if you don't hold yourself accountable, start. Because the hammer's coming down for everybody. And yeah, I'll leave it there. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys gathered something from this. And looking forward to getting the details I need to fully articulate and explain this, to get all the details I need. And a video will be coming soon. As well, coming soon we'll be talking about the Hoffman Tactical Forced Reset Trigger, the Super Safety, which is a select fire push button safety, which is really cool. I know how that works. He put a video out on it that actually shows it in detail, but having my own version of it would be kind of cool. Anyways, enjoy and stay tuned.